Morning and welcome to Yarniesville. My name is Kim, also known as Yarning for a Smile, and this is my little slice of YouTube that I like to call the Knitter's Journal. And this is going to be journal entry number 3, which is going to be basically a little vlog of me going over my current whips, my FOs, some things I got while on vacation, general chit chat, and discussing an upcoming knit along that I will be participating in from Imagine Landscapes, because it starts on Friday and I have no idea what yarn I'm even going to use. So I hope you stick around and enjoy the show. First of all, I just want to say welcome back. Welcome back to my returning viewers. And I'm sorry there's been a delay in recording. We actually had a go to the Smoky Mountains trip. We left on the 25th and we came back home that Friday, which was the 29th, I think. And since then, chaos has occurred and it's just been nonstop. And tomorrow are going to Six Flags in Georgia for the day. It's just been a lot of summer fun, summer drama. And it's just been a little crazy, but it's good. It's good. I have got some knitting done, which is always a good thing. But I just want to say thank you for coming back. And if you are new to my channel, thank you for checking me out. This is fairly a new channel. Let's get started with today's show, shall we? I didn't even cast anything on for the month of May until the 6th of May. 6 days into May, and I finally cast on my Desert Vista Dye Works monthly sock club cowl. And so I had to choose something kind of easy. So this month I am making the Messelberg hat by Yosoda Teague, and this is the Augustus colorway. And this is an older colorway of hers, of Desert Vista Dye Works. But I've made some progress. I don't even know what today is, y'all. Today's the 12th. So this is 6 days worth of knitting, which is not too good. It needs to be longer. I really hope to be over halfway done by Saturday, because Friday is the kickoff for Imagine Landscapes Gnome Cowl, which is called Make No Mistake. And I'm going to talk about that more later in planning. But this yarn, Desert Vista Dye Works, Augustus colorway, and it's really pretty. This is all caked up, and yeah, see, because May 4th was the other day, I had to put my little Ewok stitch marker from Panda Jewels. This thing is probably about 5 or 6 years old. It's so adorable. Because I'm using US 2, I'm getting 8 stitches per inch with my tension and gauge. The pattern calls for 7. So to accommodate this, because I would typically knit the adult medium, I'm just going to make the large size. So I did all the increases until I got to the large size, and then I'm knitting. And the reason I did that is because this is another hat that I made a while back. This is the Midas hat, and Midas is a free pattern, and I'll link it below in the show notes. And I cannot for the life of me remember the designer's name, but it's basically a double brim that you start with provisional cast on, knit so many inches, and then you start knitting the head of the hat. And I love the fabric and I love the fit of this hat with this double brim. And since this is going to be a hat doubled in itself on the same weight yarn, I knew that I wanted the stitch gauge to be somewhat similar to this. And when I knit this, I got the same 8 stitches per inch. And then after blocking, it was perfect. And so the stitch count is very similar. So they should be about the same when I'm done as far as fit. But this is probably seriously my most grabbed and worn hat. And that yarn is from Undead Yarns Heidi, and I will link her shop below. This is a very old colorway. I think it's called Wood Nip. And the pattern is a very easy pattern. It has a really pretty crown decreases, kind of like a pinwheel. This is just like one of the best hats for me. And I just really love how evenly dyed that yarn works with a stitch. It's just so pretty. And this is living in my Erin Lane bags sheeple, and it has some of the Harry Potter people on there. And there's the sorting hat. I'd also mentioned that I was going to be working on some of my older whips, which I showed all my works in progress in journal entry number 2. If you're interested to see those and you missed that video. So I am working on my Breathe Hope shawl, and last time I showed this I had the yarn in like this twofer bag, and I don't like those things. Like I don't know, it's just harder for me to knit from. I prefer to have my yarn out. Typically I pull from the exterior of the yarn cake. This one is still from the inside because I didn't rewind it after pulling it out of that bag. But I'm one of those people that pull from the exterior cake because it does reduce the amount of twist that goes into the yarn as you're knitting. And this is a big discrepancy thing among knitters around the world. But if you think of a roll of toilet paper, if you pull from the exterior of the roll, it's going to have some twist, but not that much. If you take out that center cardboard and then pull from the center of that, you're going to have a lot of twist. Same theory, different medium. And also I don't like to have yarn collapsing, which is what is happening here, so I'll probably need to rewind this soon just because I don't like ugly cakes. Who likes ugly cakes? Not me. So the last time I showed this I was about here, so I've done some knitting on it. I did figure out exactly what my design element was in the pattern, so I replicate it. I talked about this in video 2 as well, and how it's not like the designer intended, because I had made a mistake way down in the beginning, but I liked it, so I'm carrying it throughout the project and calling it a design element. I don't know how big I want this to get. I'm just ready for it to be done. I don't know. It's unblocked. It's my wingspan already. I'm probably going to do another finish this big section like this, and then I may just do a bind off or do some kind of like maybe rib section. I kind of have an idea how I want to do the rib section. I just don't know yet. So I'm kind of excited to see how that grows and develops into the beautiful shawl that it wants to be. So that is really all the things that I am working on currently. Let's look at some finished objects. Finished objects. This is not going to take long because I've already showed you my April gnome last journal entry. But I did finish my Desert Vista Dye Works DIY cream egg sock, and this is just a basic vanilla toe-up sock. That end is woven in. I just haven't snipped it yet. I even blocked these and still haven't snipped it yet. But this is from Desert Vista Dye Works, and the colorway is called DIY Cream Eggs, and it is, for the love of Cadbury cream eggs because they're so good. And these turned out really well. They're fit very nice. They're very soft. I always forget to snip those ends. I'll snip the inside toe, but I never snip those. It's just a thing. I wound up using a total of 323.4 yards of the yarn, which is 70 grams, because I got big feet, y'all, because I'm tall. But they turned out super cute, and I'm going to wear them when it gets cooler in my clear Crocs for the fall, because I'm going to wear my socks this year. Gonna do it. Another thing I finished was my triangle square blanket. Yay! This was my longest standing whip to date, besides the big blankets that I'm working on. This thing has been hanging out in the whip basket since 2018, and to be quite honest, we were going through fertility treatments like I said before, so it's been kind of hard to work on, but it smells so good. It's so pretty, and it turned out really cute. I'll put some photos at the end. I wound up using 921 yards, and it's a 28-inch square. And this is Lion Brand Ice Cream Yarn, and it's going to go in the bag to put up so when my children have babies of their own, there'll be some things in there that I have made for them, just in case I am not here on this earth or able to make them at that time, which kind of sounds sad, but it's really not. I would rather put stuff up and leave my grandbabies and future great grandbabies something to let them know that I love them and I was caring and thinking of them before they even were ever thought of. And my boys were young. They were 11 and 14, so a long time down the road, but I just really wanted to do something like that. I think I'll actually go ahead and show you, because I actually have that bag in front of me of some of the other things I made. And like I said, a lot of the stuff I made when we were going through fertility treatments, and I didn't know if I was going to have a girl or boy, but after going through all that and that emotional roller coaster and accepting that it was not going to happen, I really wanted to start a bag to put all these things in and future makes in to put up for my, like I said, future children and grandchildren. So another one of the things I made was a crocheted star blanket. This is just like a little small stroller blanket. And this was in some mandala yarn. I only used 546 yards, and I used a H hook, and its colorway is called Pixie Hollow, but it turned out cute. And then I made another one of those, and I used a little bit more yarn, and I used a smaller size hook this time, and I love how this one came out. So pretty. So I love yellows and grays. And it's just gorgeous. Now, obviously the colors did not repeat like this. So what I did is I went through and cut the yarn each time there was a color change and rolled those up into little cakes. And I think this blanket used 2 cakes. Yeah, so I used 1.54 skeins, which is 908.6 yards on this. And this colorway is called Serpent, and put them so that they would kind of gradually have a color change. And this one I used a 4.5, which had been the in-between. Clover makes like an in-between 4.5 hook, and I used that for this one. And I just like how it came out more. Another thing I made back in the day. So this is Bunny Rattles by Carla, some M-word. I'll have to link this and those pinwheel blankets in my show notes. But this is a baby rattle. And I actually ordered like this little rattle box from Etsy. And it's inside something, inside a sewn little cloth thing with stuffing just to make sure the little beads don't ever fall out. And I think it came out pretty cute. It's like a little armless bunny, which is kind of demented, but I like it. It even has a cute little tail, but it's just something I wanted to put in a basket or bag to put up. I also had another book from Lion Brand to review, and it's called Infant Boots and Hats, and it's a Lion Brand pamphlet, and I'll share a link to it. And so I made the lacy boot and cuffs hat from Christy 826 on Ravelry, and it's this little crocheted hat that was a newborn size, and these cute little booties. And the little detail is so fantastic. So I don't know if you can see the top of the booty, and then they both have like this flower, and they have like this little lacy cuff. But I was like, how adorable to put that up for a future descendant. And then I made a little pig stuffy because it's cute with a tail. And I was going to put a rattle in it, and I didn't put one in this one, but it was just a quick make to make me smile, and it was just adorable. So these things I keep in a ginormous Ziploc baggie, and I will continue to make stuff and add to this baggie. And eventually I'm sure I'll have to get like a tote. But I really want to keep adding to that to have those things to leave. Now, as far as planning, obviously I'm trying to plan for the Mystery Gnome knit along that starts on the 13th. It's when the first clue comes out by Imagine Landscapes, which is Friday. I don't even know if I'm going to have this video up by then. Hopefully. If not, I'm sorry. I like picked out the yarn. I do have some ideas, and basically I just pulled a bunch of minis. So these are some minis that my friend Deborah gave me an advent calendar a long time ago. I'm thinking to do the colorwork section with that, maybe, if that's like the body part, and like that for a hat, and this for a beard, or this is some accent to go along with the hat, but I don't really know yet. So this is this chaos is what I'm thinking. I also have like this blue one, but I don't really have a blue that really works well with that blue, and I think it might be too much going on if there's color work. There's also this green, which is a little bit darker. If I choose not to go with the greens for the color work section, what I could do is maybe this for the body, if that's where the color work is, and this for the hat. And I have this brown, gold, brownish color, which kind of plays off the colors in this green. that I can use, and then use that as the beard. So that's probably going to be my color choices, even though I have no idea how they're going to play our work. We shall see. But a lot of people have been talking about this cowl knit along, and it does have color work. For some reason, people are scared of color work. Color work's not bad. Color work is your friend. It makes life pretty. It really does. I think a lot of the reason that people are leery, skeptical of color work is because of charts. They look intimidating, but they really do not have to be if you do not want them to be. There's things you can do to kind of help make your chart use a lot easier. One of those things would be to download like an app like Knit Companion. Knit Companion is an app made for, I know it's made for iOS, I think it's made for Android, and there's a free and there's a paid for version. I actually did the paid for version for many years, and I just found that it wasn't worth it for me to pay that $10 because I never use half of the stuff, and I think it's like $10 a year, which is still not bad at all. Don't get me wrong, but the free version for me is all I need. But the reason I like it is because there's a bar that allows you to slide up and down to highlight the part of the pattern that you're on. But you don't even have to do that. You can go old school with some paper. So what I usually do is I'll print off the pattern, and then I'll actually make a photocopy of just the charts. And then I'll cut that out, and I'll stick that in my notebook. And this is just a little happy planner notebook that I use. I have it divided for crochet, knitting, and cross stitch. And any pattern that I'm working on, like I'll basically use this like a journal. So this is a crochet blanket I did that I put all the colors in order that I'm using on the blanket. But to show you what I'm talking about for charts, Knitter's Pride had a knit along maybe in last year for a smoke and mirrors cowl. So I just photocopied part of the chart and then I highlighted certain things, certain colors. So in this case, I highlighted all of my SSKs in green, and I highlighted my make one rights in blue and my make one lefts in purple. And so that way, as soon as I saw that color, I would know to look at the key, and I also cut out the key and put it in here and highlight it as well. And that's a great way to keep up with what you're on now. So this journal, this notebook lives in my whip basket. Also in that basket is one of the Happy Planner little accessory bag things, and it has these little cutouts so I can actually snap it to the rings of my notebook, which is one of the things I love for when I take it with me. But you can also use washi tape, and so I have some knitting theme washi tape in here, of course. And you can put a piece above the row that you're working on and below, so all you see is that one row that you're working on. Another idea would be to highlight again, like I did on that chart, certain things. Personally, I love these gel highlighters. I think my friend Deborah gave me these. These are actually scented, and I think she got them at the Dollar Tree. But they're great highlights, and they're gel, so they go on smooth. Or you can use actual highlighters. And this is a set that you can get at Hobby Lobby in the knitting section by the yarn, and there's actually knitting crochet themed sayings on them. So this one says focus on fiber, make your stash stand out, emphasize your stitch, yarn is the highlight of my day. Another option would be use sticky notes, put one above and one below the line. And there's also a tool out there called highlighters tape, which is just like clear tape, and I have some somewhere, but I don't know where it is, but it's got a slight color to it that you can see through, and it comes in like a thin line, and it comes in like a normal size tape width, but you can use that and pull it off and put it on. Be careful with that though, because in some books, if you're going to use it like in a book, it can pull off some of the dye from the writing. So just be aware. In that case, I would probably make a copy and just stick it in my notebook of the chart. If you need to make your chart bigger, to blow it up to make it easier to see, and you don't want to use a notebook, another great idea is to use a magnet board. Now this is like a magnet board. I think these are in the cross stitch section at Hobby Lobby. I don't know where I got my magnetic count stitch marker from, but it's just a ruler that has a magnet on the bottom of it. So I can use that to put it under the line. And I always keep extra magnets to hold the pattern down. But we don't have to buy this, because this is a cookie baking sheet from the Dollar Tree. And these are just some magnetic strips that come just like this. And so basically I just got it, stuck them on here, had some other random magnets I stuck on here to hold the pattern. I used a drill bit to drill holes, and I put this little ribbon on it. So I actually hang this on my lamp next to my chair, so I can keep up with the pattern in the row I'm on, and then use the lamp light to illuminate it. And I can sit in there and knit on charts when I'm watching TV with my family. So this is just a little DIY that works so great for that purpose. And it's super cheap, because again, $1. And I think I found these at the Dollar Tree a long time ago as well. A way that you can help yourself stay where you are on point in the pattern. So as far as the knit along, it does start May the 13th, which is tomorrow. The last day to enter your gnome for prizes is June the 8th. And it requires 3 20-ounce mini skeins. And I talked about the yarn that I was going to possibly use earlier. So now let's look at some of the things I picked up while I was on vacation. So despite being very aggravated with the whole cabin rental thing, I did go to the Smoky Mountain Spinnery. I was not in there very long, like 15 minutes. And my family were in the car. And I was really going to record and take some photos for you guys. And this is the day right after my father-in-law fell. So we were just trying to get out and get a few things and get back to the cabin so we can kind of keep an eye on him. And it didn't even cross my mind. But I did want to buy something, because I always like to buy something when I visit a yarn store. I feel like it's just something that I can do to help show my love and appreciation for them being there and support another small business. So I did get Eucalyptus, which is my favorite delicate wash. This is Eucalyptus, which is my favorite scent. And this is pretty much exclusively, besides Tough Woolens bars, the only wash I use on my knits of organic wool or superwash or any kind of wool blend. This is all I use, and it's great. I also got a US 0 24-inch sharp needle for my next 2 at a time socks. They only had one in stock, so I have to order another one. But I noticed when I made my last pair of socks, the DIY cream eggs, that my stitch was a little loose. So I have to go down to a size 0 in making socks. 0. Yeah. So that should be fun. And then I also got a couple of mini skeins in the idea of making future gnomes. So I don't know if I'm going to wind up using these this year, but probably, because they're great gnome colors. So I got 2 skeins of Knitted Wit, and I got 2 skeins of Wonderland yarns, with the idea of using these 2 together. And this is Knitted Wit's Parks collection, and this is the Grand Canyon colorway, and it is stunning. And I think it'll be so pretty with that. And this is Knitted Wit's Olympic National Park. And so I bought this one to work with this. These are all fingering weight. This one is just a much tighter ply. And this is a much loftier ply. But with gnomes, I think it just adds to their quirkiness to have a little bit difference in variation in the yarn. So that's literally all the yarn I bought. But those are going to be fun colors to use on a future gnome. And one of the ladies that works at the shop, Miss Joyce, is actually going to be, I think, making the gnome also. So for the month of May, the mystery gnome. So we got to talk gnomes for a bit, and it was a lot of fun chatting with her. She's very nice. All the people that work there are great, and I just love going when I go to the Smoky Mountains. It's a must. I must stop. The only other thing I bought when I was at the mountains was some magazines. Now this is funny. So I went to Joann's and with my mother-in-law, pushing her in a wheelchair, and my husband and my father-in-law and the kids went to Books A Million, which is down a couple of shops. And I will put in the show note links to these magazines and their Ravelry pages so you can look and see what patterns are in there and kind of get an idea. So when I went to Joann's, I knew I wanted to get some magazines because around here, there's no place to get knitting or crochet magazines. So I went to Joann's and I got several. And ironically, my husband, while he was at Books A Million, picked me up some too. And we managed to get different magazines. There was no duplicates. I don't even know how that happened. And the ones I got, a lot of them had freebies. So I'm going to show you the freebies first because I don't really remember which came with what. Sorry. So this was with one of the UK knitting magazines, and it's a free 10 cute characters to make. And it comes with the bumper knit collection. I think it comes with the stuff to make like the eggs. But I thought, that's nice. One of them came with like these stitch markers. I love these little safety pin stitch markers. And it comes with a metal tin. I love metal tins. And the reason I love metal tins is because I also have some of the Jimmy Beans BOBs. Not BOBs. I have some of the Jimmy Beans notions holders. And these, if you've never seen these, this is the Namaste. This is the older collection. They have the smaller one now out in the canvas stuff, but they don't make the big one yet. I love the big one because the big one has like a pencil holder, and this is magnetic. So you can stick those metal cases and hold your stitch markers so stuff doesn't fall out. Oh, also the big one, you can actually pull this out and there's more storage behind there. The small one is a lot smaller, but it does the same thing. So I'll have like, this stays on my nightstand, a pair of scissors in here, some waste yarn, and this one has like the plastic big safety pins, a hand balm, and a crochet hook tool for picking up stitches, and a darning needle, and a couple stitch markers. And see, it's magnetic, so even these kind of stitch markers, they stay, and they don't fall out when you open it. The other notions pouch they have in the canvas is this small one, and it is a lot smaller. It only has this open area that's also a magnet. It does have the floss cutter for cutting your yarn. And like these kind of stitch markers don't stick well to this, but they stick better in the bigger kind. But of course their stitch markers and their darning needle fits in, and it came with 3 stitch markers. I also have this in the salmon color, but I like these to go in my purses because they're thin. And what I typically do is these little thin metal storage things, just like this one, and this is probably what I'll do with that one. I'll stick in here because they still stick. And they'll stay. And they'll still zip up. And then one of the magazines came with a little notions pouch. One of them came with some straight needles with a really pretty rainbow topper. I don't use straight needles, so this will probably be a giveaway either to my Worldwide Knit in Public event or maybe on here. And then this is a double-ended Tunisian hook, which I haven't done Tunisian crochet yet. I actually have a metal one, but I prefer the wood better. But I do want to try it. So I may break this open. And I'm not going to go through every one of these magazines because I also have something else to show you guys. But one of the magazines came with this little bitty Sheepy's folk art book, which has a bunch of patterns and has this blanket that I will be making because I love this blanket. And I've already started taking notes on it. This just smells so good. So this one came with one of them. And one of the ones I got was this Crochet inside. It's a UK magazines are by far my favorite. One of them came with this Crochet shawls extra. Simply Crochet came with this edits, which has some Tunisian blankets, which that's where I got the Tunisian hook with. And this is the issue of the Simply Crochet. This is another Simply Crochet one I got. Simply Crochet is by far one of my favorite magazines. I was a subscriber for years, but I stopped because getting here in the US, I would have missing magazines, or by the time it would get to my house, the package would be opening and the free stuff that comes inside just wouldn't be there. And it's not one of the cheapest magazines to get from the UK. And for losing all that, I just kind of felt like maybe it wasn't the best idea to be a subscriber. Besides this year and some of last year's, I almost have every one of the ones that they've made since 2013. I have a lot of them, and I love, there's so many fun projects in them. I also got this in one of the magazines. I got Simply Knitting. This crochet one is actually what came with this book. I remember now. It's got some Christmas themed stuff, but I'm kind of glad that they still had it on the thing because I didn't have this, and there's some cute things in here that I want to make. Then I got this Let's Knit magazine. But those are the magazines I got, which were a lot, so I had plenty of stuff to look at while I was at the cabin. Then I went to my local Ollie's the other day, and I came across some knitting books they had. Some of these I already have. I wanted to buy them even though I already have some because I do have an upcoming event for the locals. There's an event that happens every year on the second Saturday of June called Worldwide Knit and Palette Day. Back in 2014, I started hosting this event for my area, and I've done it every year except for 2020 when everything was closed down. So we've had it at the local park, we've had it in the mall, food court, but it's just a way to have all the local knitters and crocheters come together and spend a couple hours together knitting and just catching up. And it's a lot of fun, and I love that I'm able to host it. I personally like giveaways at mine, so I try to buy up stuff throughout the year, which this year it's just been kind of hard to buy a bunch of stuff. But I did buy a couple of these books to give away. But to show you what my Ollie's had, but this is knitting accessories. I really love that hat, but it's a thick book and it is heavy. I also got geometric knitting patterns. And it has a lot of kind of color charts to kind of see how to make them. And then I got Hooked on Knitting, which is a smaller book with a couple of fun projects. So I think on all of these, like this big one was only $5 and it retails $35. This small one is retails $24 and I paid $4 for it. And this one retailed $17 and I paid $3 for it. So some pretty good deals, and I need to go through and figure out what I can use for prizes. But that's all I really have for today. I apologize, there's not that much to show. Again, I had great intentions of going on vacation and really knitting and crocheting a lot of stuff to show you guys because I took several projects. I even had a bag just for knitting projects. But between the cabin, the stairs, and all the chaos in between then, I just haven't had the knitting time. But I just want to take a moment again to say thank you for watching this video and being a part of my community by hitting that subscribe button. Maybe give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, if I made you smile, and share it with your friends or in groups. If you are a returning viewer, thank you again so much for coming back and spending some time with me. I will be getting up a giveaway next week, so keep an eye out for that. That's all I really have. My voice is starting to go because of allergies, and I'm really having to struggle to get my voice out there. So I'm gonna say goodbye for now, and again, thanks for watching and have a great week. Happy yarning. But just to give you a brief overview so you can see how fun it's been, We started off with going to the Smokies on the 25th and coming home on the 29th. When I rented that cabin chalet, I specifically asked for certain criteria because my mother-in-law and father-in-law are going with us, and my mother-in-law is 85 this year, and she either has to have a walker or a wheelchair, so I needed it to be accessible for her. So I messaged the rental agency and the owner back and forth for clarification. They assured me that it would be perfect for our adventure, and we got there and it was the total opposite. So I spent my entire time fighting with them, which I didn't get any money back, or they did not try to resolve the issue. Also, to add on to that, we had bought some new jeans for the boys before we went, and the day before we were leaving, no, this was on Wednesday, I did a load of laundry. I put the laundry in the wash machine, turned it on cold because we're all tall in our family, and I always wash everything on cold. And my husband walks by the laundry and he's like, why is there so much steam in there? Apparently the wash machine, no matter if you use cold or hot, only gave out scalding hot water. So basically I shrunk 4 pair of brand new jeans. So that just kind of added to the fuel of my anger about this whole rental. The day before we left, my father-in-law fell in that cabin so much that he fractured his hip bone and did a lot of severe internal bruising. He's still trying to recover from that. And we also brought home 4 hermit crabs on that trip, which I used to have hermit crabs and I love them so much so that I made my husband buy me a new tank for our living room so I can have my own hermit crabs. So I'm in the process of setting that up. But it's been a lot of research because, you know, the last time I had crabs, I was in middle school maybe, and a lot of information's changed as far as proper care, and so trying to meet all those requirements and make sure we provide happy homes because they're just fun to watch. They're cute little creatures. We went to see the new Doctor Strange movie, which is really good. It's a Marvel movie. They're always so good. But this one was actually rather dark. It was very touching, even though it was so dark, because you could actually feel kind of emotionally what this person was going through, but not, you know, obviously not to the level that they were doing it. But it's pretty good. You need to check it out. It was a really great movie. And my mom cut her finger so much so that she required 4 stitches. And it was so deep that the nurse thought that she probably broke her bone, so she required x-rays. So yeah, that's been fun in Yarningsville.